Week 4, day 2 of the LEC. We're here in Berlin, Germany. My name is Machine, and it's my last day. Yes, I have my super soaker, and I'm getting ready for some Counter-Strike. I'll be off to do some commentary a little later on in the week. But for now, I've got Vedius and, of course, the beautiful Ender bopping his head on the big screen. He actually demanded, he said, I'm sick of being on the small one. I need 16 different screens with my face on it. You good, Vedi?
I mean, you need something big enough to fit all of his ego in, and I think that we could do with a couple more screens.
It's the brain size, actually.
Right, yeah.
It's hard to keep it all in one place. That's what
Weirdchamp definitely takes a lot of brain space.
It has been pretty miserable in Berlin, though, so I bet you've had the actual summer weather today. You got the California sun rising, Ender?
Oh yeah, you know, we've got air conditioning too. It's crazy. The sun's just about to come up. Got, you know, the ocean. I can just jump in anytime. You guys have to fake it there in the studio, but I mean, it's like 40 minutes to the ocean, but it's closer. It's closer than what you guys got.
Yeah, it certainly is. And we are starting the day with some great news, because from next Friday, the players are returning to the studio. I mean, it's long awaited.
It certainly has been. We will finally have the players back here live. But unfortunately, we won't have all of them at one time. Yeah,
okay, there's a bit of an extra caveat to this, and in compliance with all local regulations, we are able to bring back players for our first, third, and fifth games daily. So in between, we'll have extra time to go ahead and make the proper preparations for the studio for the next teams and maintain a safe distancing to ensure competitive integrity. We will rotate through the teams to ensure that the amount of games played on the stage is equal as possible. I mean, that makes a lot of sense, and also it's just going to be so good because it's hard to quantify, it's hard to explain, but there is such a big difference from the players to the broadcast itself when we have them in the studio.
Yeah,
we were just talking about it earlier.
Yeah, it will be a pleasure to have them back. The dynamic as well, getting to see the players, getting them to play in this environment once more. It's going to be fantastic. So I can't wait to see many of the pros back on stage.
Me neither.
We had them in playoffs, but we'll get to see a lot more of them. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun.
And those Tibbers are going to be retired. I'm not sure who's going to take them.
I don't know if they will be just yet.
No? Okay. Oh, okay. Fine.
I think they play better than some.
Ouch.
We'll,
Either way, I don't know who's...
The sun's the only hot thing on the beach today, am I right, Machine?
Oh, absolutely, Vedius. Going into the week, there was a clear top 6 in the LEC, but after the day of upsets, the waves have turned, with Astralis, Schalke, and Excel picking up big wins. I mean, they were mandatory wins, but I mean, Vedius, it's so funny how quickly we've pivoted from week 3, day 2, saying, top 6, we can just final answer it now, to everyone can lose.
Quite right. Astralis beating Vitality was a pretty surprising upset yesterday, especially when you look at how Astralis have been performing so far this split. The level of play that they have brought has not been great, but yesterday they really stepped up. Yeah, it was a bit back and forth in the early game, but they kept finding kills after kill, and they just executed their comp very well. I like how they attacked the side lanes, I like how they were super proactive, and Felix really was popping off on the Akali.
Look, every single game, it felt like in these upsets, it was mid-diff. You know, it was Felix, then it was Nuked Up, then it was Nuclear Ant later on. It's funny to say that because I think Felix got solo killed to start off this game, but he was able to find a lot of kills in side lanes on SLT, and the team fights for Astralis looked excellent. So, again, all these upsets, it came down to kind of just breaking the game open through that middle lane.
No, absolutely. I think for one that stands out for me has to be Schalke. I mean, we started that show, you know, learning and breaking the news about Schalke departing from the LEC in that capacity, and then we had the players yet to pick up a win, picking it up, and against Fnatic, who are on like a, what is it, 5-6 game win streak?
Yeah, they ended the win streak and they had a huge performance themselves, and their mid laner really set up a lot of those plays, but also it was just a very close, intense back and forth game that I thought could go either way, and then Fnatic just took a couple bad fights that Schalke was more than happy to capitalize on. They performed cleanly, and they took away a huge win.
Absolutely, you know, and it was fun to see within these team fights really standing up against Fnatic, because that's an area that Fnatic have looked very strong in the past, and I think that Nuclear Ant is going to take a game like this and get so much confidence off that. Schalke have to feel so good after a performance like that.
I mean, we heard from Broken Blade as well how this is a huge confidence booster for the team too, because they felt like they were playing well in scrims, but they couldn't translate it properly to stage. But now they feel revitalized, they feel refreshed, and I think that for a team to get a win against a team like Fnatic is pretty big. So the fact that Schalke have beaten G2 and Fnatic this split, hopefully we can see them start to gain more momentum and make that run for play.
Yeah, I mean, we also discussed, you know, the longevity of a league like this is that all is not lost. It is not lost, and those wins, though they were mandatory, have been picked up, and so we'll continue to see if they can run with it. If you happen to be lost on the Rift during summer, fear not, because League's greatest lifeguards are here to rescue those stuck in yellow hell.
Getting lower. Mickey here as well. Fnatic are not scared of G2, but they might be scared of the Pantheon. That's going to be the ulti coming in. Tark ulti coming in as well. Eyes on the prize. Fnatic take the Baron and the fight. Treats with the sword.
The setup for Broken Blade, man. So the ultimate comes through for Broken Blade. Oh,
look at this AoE. Oh! Put your face on the keyboard, nuclear hit! As Dan is the only one still on that dragon. It's reset the soul. The flare on free. Bring home the hammer as Exo just evaporates in front of the man lines.
Yes, indeed. You call and they come running. The LEC lifeguards. The question is, though, can they save G2? Right?
Can anyone say? Yeah.
It's got a couple of our analysts thinking. Yikes. Are you still with us? And you've migrated and upgraded. I see.
Yeah, I'm up in that one now. So I'm not trapped anymore. I can bounce around. It's kind of like the pictures at Hogwarts, right? I'm trapped in the painting still, but I can move around between them when I want.
Oh, okay, real question. Like, this is real talk, Vedius.
Tell me.
What Harry Potter house is Ender in? Realistically, he's not a Gryffindor. I know that.
He's a Hufflepuff.
He's a Huffle, isn't he?
He's the one that no one, you know.
No. Yeah, the sorting hat didn't even do any extra bits. It just Hufflepuff and moved him on. You know, no flair, no pizzazz. No. Anyway, I don't know why we're talking about that. I'll tell you what we should though instead focus on is we have bartender Braum with us. So I'm going to challenge our summer chair analysts to come up with a juicy drink order. So tell us the name of your drink and the ingredients, and everyone at home can vote on which drink they would like to order. So you can spam Ender or Vedius in the chat below. And also, I'm afraid and neglect to mention that weird champs will not be counted.
They do not count.
They don't count. They don't count. It's not going to stop you typing them, but I know it doesn't count. So, who's my first victim? Vedius is here, so I'll give him time to ponder. Ender, what's your drink order of choice?
Okay, Machine.
Go on, walk me through it.
Interest you in an elegant drink for those who wish to reminisce about the good old days, to walk down memory lane and think fondly about the time when you were the best at something, which for Quickshot would be some 30+ years ago. I digress. The Caps Old Fashioned is a no-nonsense recipe that gets straight to the point, unlike its namesake, but it'll go down smooth just like a liquid at MSI Finals. Let's start with a water base. For this, you'll need a few dashes of Perks' Tears, collected in 2017, the type that comes straight after you get solo killed. 21 tears won't do, although I'm sure they're not in short supply. We'll need local European tears. Next up, the bitter. These need to be extracted from fake fans from Maximum Bitterness. The fans who only jumped over when Reckless was signed. Fans who don't appreciate the happy games. Fans who don't actively flame Grabs' drafts after a loss or a win. Next up, 1 sugar cube, because Caps is so sweet. And finally, a whole lot of bourbon, because 2021 has sucked so far, man.
Wow, honestly.
That was quite the pitch.
But it doesn't even sound that bad. So we've got the bitters. Was there anything sweet? Is there anything to kind of tickle my pickle in that regard?
Yeah, one sugar cube, because Caps is so sweet.
Oh, that's
nice. Guy.
Perfect. Okay, so a bourbon bitters.
His pitch, I'll be honest, Machine.
Yeah.
Much more well prepared than mine.
Oh, really?
Yeah. However,
wait, what have I done?
I wish to propose to you.
Go on.
Listen, I need to focus.
I'm fully focused. I'm sorry. I've loaded the super soaker.
I know. I'm a little.
I've realised I've fully committed to this now.
Pressure on me now.
They put water in it. Why did they put water? There are electronic devices.
Let's calm down. Okay, let's calm down. All right. I would like to pitch to both you,
go on,
and Ender, and the chat, of course, a margarita. Yes, that's right. You heard me. A margarita, fresh off the shelf, brand new recipe, straight from the ERLs. You didn't expect it, but it's right here, and it is ready to go. It'll put a bit of pep in your step, because what it loves to do is dive. Have you got your scuba gear ready? Because you're going to need it after you take a sip of the Margarita. An absolutely flawless execution when it comes to setting up those diving excursions of yours, right?
Yeah.
On top of that, let's say you have a loved one, you know, you want to go for a romantic
I do like to have a dive in the summer.
Right? Yeah. But what about a walk along the beach? You know? Do you know what
Love
a margarita does? It gives you the perfect synergy with that partner right in the mid lane, a perfect path up the mid, and you're going to be grooving your way down the beach line. It's like, it's so refreshing, you know? The thing is, what's great is that like it looks very soft and colorful on the top, but when you get to the bottom, that's where the punch hits you, and that's where it hits you hard in the mid game, where it comes in with combination of that nuclear flavor one likes to feel.
I see you're going to keep going.
The margarita.
These guys obviously have already made their decisions.
Have they? What are they voting for?
It looks Ender at 58%.
No! The margarita, guys!
Anything, I've just been cat jamming.
Where are you? I keep looking for him over there. Yeah, okay, he's cat jamming because all
Guys,
he can
vote for
speak
Vedius.
and think
Vedius.
in is Twitch chat and memes.
The
Also, I'm
margarita,
voting
guys.
in chat right now.
I feel like that he just went first, and that's why everyone was voting. You know what I mean?
No,
but guys, the margarita is what you want.
The margarita, it's a name pun. You see what he did there. Beach season is well underway, and since we have a summer-themed ready check, we need an appearance from the biggest flexer in League of Legends.
Crunch it, come on, man. You've only done like 4, 5, 6, keep it up. If you want to catch up to me, the Flex King, then you're gonna have to work a little bit harder. Oh, hey, what's up, my Flex apprentices? I see you've come to me to get some more Flexucation. You've come to the right place. So let's start by talking about some powerful Flex picks, starting with Flexibit. Hey, my boy Set has been flexing it up on the Rift, while tiny in comparison to the true Flex King, me. He's still doing some great stuff over on the Rift. Typically, you see him in the top lane, but all around the world in the global Flexer competition, we see him sometimes in the mid lane and in the bot lane. If you're not careful, he's gonna crunch your head into the ground, so you better respect the set of flexing. Let's move on to Flexibit B Viego. Now, I acknowledge that I have used toothpicks that are bigger than this guy. However, he needs the Flex community support right now. His girl just up and left him, and now he's all mopey and stuff. I tried telling him to do some squats, converting the pain into muscle, but he said some stuff about some mist. I don't know. In any case, he has been flexing it up on the Rift, and he'll take any position that he can get. So you better watch out, because this little man about to be a big man and flexing it up. Finally, we have to go to Flexibit C6. Now, this guy might be small, but he brings Flexplosions. Wherever he goes, it's just a bang, a bang, a bang, baby. Whew! I love this little guy. What he lacks in size, he makes up for in power. And by power, I mean Flexplosions. Woo! Boo, 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 bang, 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 bang. Yeah, baby. Whew! Wow, now we have not been seeing a lot of him here in Europe. Globally, I think that he's starting to make his appearance. So I've got my eye on you, little guy. I think he's gonna be making his way into the mid lane and perhaps into the bot lane too. So be ready, cause the Flexplosions, they're coming. Whew! All right, I'm gonna go get some rays and hit some Z's, cause flexing need a resting. Take it away, robot guy.
Thank you very much, man who speaks like I used to do the voices for my action men. Like, that's exactly how my action men used to sound when I was playing. But either way, fantastic work from Flexius. Either way, we've also seen some players flexing on the Rift. So let's take some time to discuss our candidates for mid-season MVP. So we get to find out who is exactly the front runners, who are the conversation starters so far in the season. And I think it'd be foolish not to start with the first on that list. It's, of course, top of the table, Razork from Misfits, a jungler by name, and he's certainly changed its nature a little bit.
Look, Machine, I gotta take my glasses off for this one because this one is serious. Razork has completely evolved from Spring. You know, he was decent in Spring, but he is standout. He is looking like the best early game jungler in the league in Summer. Look at that. Kill participation at 50 minutes, 84%. I think throughout the entire game, it's up at 80% for him. He is so active in his team's early game success and is one of the big reasons why Misfits find themselves tied at the top of the standings currently. I think Razork has shown us multiple different styles and has just looked completely on point, and in these best of ones has dominated in the matchups that he's playing.
Okay, absolutely. And then I guess in part of that, we then take a trip outside of the jungle because Hansama, this is a name, Vedius. It seems every time, even when I was first visiting, he was a name at the tip of your tongue. And it's still there.
He has to be, because I think the Hansama has only gone from strength to strength ever since joining Rogue. And last split, he had a phenomenal performance, but this split, he really is shining on this Rogue roster. Usually, this team is consistent, reliable. They are clean in their execution. Where does the volatility come from? In the bot lane. And that's not a bad thing. These two currently lead the 2 versus 2 kills in the league, and if action is going to happen, it stems from Hansama and Trimby. And Hansama is just an aggressive player. He has convinced Trimby to play his style, and they are just ruthless in the bot lane. If blood is to be shed, it is down there, and that doesn't mean that they are no slouches in the team fights either. This duo, and Hansama in particular, has really been stepping up for me so far this year.
And I just find it so inspiring for someone that's newer to this level of League of Legends, seeing someone have so much impact with the AD carry role, where previously it does just feel a bit kind of role filly and shooting creeps for 30 minutes-y, sitting at the back and everyone's dead and I'm just going to die last and look like... No, it's not very glorious, but he makes it look stylish. He really does. It's, you could say, inspiring, which moves us smoothly over to our next member. It's inspired. No, I'm sorry, Ender. Sorry, okay.
His bars looked awesome, though, no doubt. This guy continues to look like the strongest jungler when you take the entire year into consideration. Rogue are a team that so often play towards their jungle, use lane pressure to help him out when he wants to get a little bit more aggressive and whatnot, and he's taken that success from Spring and still looked phenomenal all summer long. I feel like our jungle pool in Europe is looking very, very good this summer, and he still remains competing right there at the top.
Yeah, I think that he still has to be in the conversation, given that he was on the tip of everybody's tongues last split. Inspired was a big candidate, especially from many of the pro players, saying that he should be the MVP given the amount of impact that he does have. He ended up falling just short of Reckless, but his presence was definitely felt, and you really saw it in the finals as well. And I think that we're continuing to see his performance this split. His Viego yesterday looked good. He's continuing to show a diverse champion pool, and I think that he, alongside Hansama, are 2 big names on Rogue that really stand out in our league right now.
Rock and roll. Okay, we'll keep our eyes on them. And on this one, next one still kind of blows my brain. Bwipo, role change on the MVP mid-split conversation. I mean, like, this doesn't compute. This shouldn't work. How has he done it? Help me.
I mean, honestly, I think Bwipo has slotted in pretty nicely. I think he's got a great mind for the game, and while I don't feel like personally I would put him above an Inspired or Razork at this current time in the season, Bwipo has looked really good at showing us a million different styles. The early game aggression, ganking type that Fnatic love to play aggressive early. Also, the TP, smite, Karthus, jungle, that sort of nonsense. He's done some really serious work. I think that's why his damage numbers look really good there. But Bwipo can sort of do it all, that mad scientist style that he was known for in the top lane as well.
I think the thing about Bwipo is that when we look at MVP, it's always a controversial discussion, right? Best player versus most impactful player. And I think that it's hard not to have an individual role swap from a role that he was very impactful on into another role where he is now continuing to have a huge impact on. And I feel like that his introduction to the jungle has changed Fnatic in a way that has put them back at the top of the standing. So it's difficult not to include him when he is kicking off the split in a very commanding fashion. And his impact has been good.
His impact has certainly been felt, and from one human being to another humanoid. And last on our list, this one's turning heads as well for the Mad Lions, and he is still kind of warming back in, as we've been discussing. Mad Lions, of course, still have humanoid to count upon.
They certainly do. I think that Mad Lions, a big point of discussion has been their shaky start to the split, and I think that many people have been giving them the benefit of the doubt, but to me, the one person that hasn't faltered at any point has been Humanoid. Throughout the regular season so far, I think he has been the best performing mid laner that we have, and I think that the evolution that he's made over the years, coming to this point now where he is a big part of why Mad are even winning games, I think he also needs to be on this list of the conversation. What I think is crazy is that we don't have a G2 player on there, especially given that they've been the All-Pro for so long.
Yeah, well, at least you know that we are updating the script weekly and it's not just some sort of elaborate simulation because there is no G2 on here. We are changing the script at least a little bit. Make sure to change, or rather share, your mid-season MVP at the LEC on Twitter, and we'll see as many of the candidates in our match of the week as Rogue and Mad Lions face off in a rematch of the spring finals. Ooh, baby.
That's going to be it. Arma now stepping forward. He wants to hold on to the base. He wants to end it, but Hot It's over! Wolf Strike again. 2-0 for Rogue.
We kind of felt too cocky in game 3. We kind of felt like we already won.
Bot lane falling down low too. Hasana, humanoid. He finds the shockwave. It is Mad Lions who will find the win in game 3 and bring it back for game 4.
I felt like they were scared of losing, which made them to lose.
Armand! Into 2! It is Rogue falling down in the final moments. Mad Lions may end it right here.
When I see them, I always feel like they stole my trophy, and it really sucks. I really wanted to win it.
Rogue was kind of always the rival team with us ever since we are in the LEC, because we are both the rookie teams, which were behind Fnatic and G2, but now the cards and tables have turned.
Definitely when we play Mad Lions, everyone from our team is hungry for blood.
It was theirs to lose. They're going to be looking to come back with a vengeance.
Oh, here comes the Crows! Ask whatever damn question you want of the Raven. It's a murder in the bot lane.
Rogue are very clean, calculated, and precise. However, I will say that they seem a little more scrappy.
Rogue bot lane is just beating the Schalke bot lane. A 2v2 kill, the 7th of summer.
Mad started the split in inconsistent fashion. Ultimately, I think that this team is still showcasing a lot of the big strengths that they had from last split. In particular, Humanoid in the mid lane is now in a meta where he can really showcase his mechanical prowess.
Kazi put into the GA there. The True Shot Barrage doing quite a lot of work. The Equalizer coming out as well as Jesu needs to put the damage down himself, but Humanoid watching those montages always pays off. It is absolute chaos. Humanoid going back in, but it is the Baron over to the side of Mad. And now Humanoid just looking to style. That's Niski taken down. Humanoid still alive. Goes invisible, takes out Upset as well. It's the double.
All of us should just not get too ahead of ourselves, because even though we won, it wasn't really one-sided.
We need to make sure that we peak at the right time, right? Which is obviously always towards the end of the split.
Both Rogue and Mad are willing to fight. We know that their bot lanes are both hyper-aggressive. We know that their mid laners come from the same class. Their top laners are pretty consistent, and in particular, they're two of the best junglers in the league. They may very well be the two best junglers in the league. And overall, it's going to be a fantastic game.
Oh, a fantastic game indeed, and the dulcet tones of Vedius continued now on the desk as well. Wow, you did such great work. How did you do it? 2 places at once? 3 places, maybe?
No. I have many family members.
Yes,
They are very talented.
Of the Vedius clan.
Yes,
fantastic.
We're a proud race.
Ender is joining us as well, and these teams made their first final in spring. First time we see them face to face since then. So, I mean, like, new rivalry, there is no doubt about it, right? This is like, you had the veterans, the pre-established veterans and the challenging rookies, and now you've got like the aforementioned rookies now becoming, you know, their own, coming into their own. Like, they're hitting like the League of Legends equivalent of puberty now. It's like, no, mom.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a great way to describe it, because for the longest time, we talked about Mad and Rogue as like the little brother, the little sister.
They said little kid team. I was like, right, yeah, I could say that, I guess.
And that's kind of how they were, because it was always still G2 and Fnatic, and there was this one playoffs where it was Rogue versus Fnatic and Mad versus G2, and Mad and Rogue were first and second in the regular season. G2 and Fnatic come in, wipe them both off.
No.
They're immediately gone. Then after that, people were still like, yeah, they're still pale in comparison. But then last split, of course, they rose to the occasion. They knock both out of the competition, and then it's their final. And when you ask them, they're like, yeah, you know, beating them is good, and we want to beat them, but these are the rivals. Now, like, Rogue is my adversary, Mad is my opponent. Like, the fact that we have a secondary rivalry outside of the G2 Fnatic is great for the LEC, and you know that when rivalries start to form, you're only going to get great League of Legends when they hit the Rift.
This is what I'm saying, and especially because you've just hyped me up about Hans Sama, and I just heard him say, in his own words, I feel like every time I see them, they are holding my trophy. Like, come on, if that doesn't get your blood pumping, I don't know what will, Ender. Does this mean Rogue are out for revenge?
Absolutely, you know, it wasn't just that they were one game away from making it to MSI. They were one game away from making it 3 games in a row. And then the last game, they had an 8K gold lead, and it gets literally ripped away from them with 1 or 2 good fights from the Mad Lions. So I think it absolutely stings to have to watch Mad Lions go to MSI, then perform pretty well there. All things considered, Rogue have to think like, hey, if we were there, we could have done that, or maybe even better. Rogue are going to be itching to get that win and outrank them in the standings.
Vedi, how does this land on your ears? You know, when they just kind of alluded to the fact that in that game, in that series, Rogue were playing not to lose as opposed to playing to win.
I mean, it's an interesting argument.
Because like that's a mental battle. A lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, like that comes from the perspective of Armit, you know, and he's kind of looking at it from how he approached and how he was playing the game, and it's hard for me to sit there and say whether that was the case, because all I can sit there and say is the like.
All right, this is just Vedius has never been a pro player, so he's never going to pass a judgment or something like that. So he's just not going to give it to me. Your personal opinion. It's your personal opinion.
What I think was that Rogue definitely played worse in the last 3 than they did in the first 2.
Yes.
Where in the first 2 it felt like sheer dominance and that they had the control, and then through 3 and 5 it felt like that the games were just slipping away from them, and they were desperate.
Yes, right, exploring anything.
Yeah, I would definitely say that, like, I can see what Armit was saying, but it's hard when you've never been in that position.
Well, this is what I'm saying. I mean, all I was trying to do was just make sure we outline and acknowledge that, because when people are watching at home, it's easy to just throw stones at names online and not realize, you know, yes, mental did get into play a part in it.
I mean, imagine, yeah.
This is going to be a conversation that you can have to have with them. With the second round robin fast approaching, the stakes are on the grill for today's barbecue, and we have some proper bangers, absolutely no mash, coming up today. Misfits versus G2, one of them will go 0-2 this week, and they were some real high flyers. And outside of that, you've got even more. Fnatic SK was one that whets my appetite. Ender?
Yeah, I mean, SK's really trying to search for, you know, put another win under their belt. I feel like, too, with Excel's really great performance against G2 yesterday, this match coming up is going to be going, I don't know. I feel like with all the upsets we had yesterday, you can't be too certain about any of the games we got going down today.
Yeah, and especially considering Vitality did have a little bit of a wobble, for lack of a better term. I mean, let's maybe start focusing on it. It is only about 4 or so minutes away, as you can see. Wait, hang on. Over here. Had to just quickly work it out. It's like looking in the mirror. So let's look ahead towards our first game between Vitality and XL. And the UK team are still fighting for their first ever LEC playoffs. No need to worry though, because Mark and Ank have arrived. And yesterday, the Flying Dutchman sent G2 straight to Davy Jones' locker. I don't know why the accent.
Exactly, no. I feel like it all came down to the mid-jungle and the focus around mid lane and absolutely bullying Caps. He had no fun whatsoever. And for Excel starting the draft, getting the Bullet Bear LeBlanc, you can play towards that lane. And it's building on an idea and an identity that I feel like Excel were trying to have coming into the summer split. When they put Nukeduck in the mid lane, effectively they're saying, well, we need a strong lane to play around. Because in spring, they had 0 strong lanes to play around in the early game. They just couldn't make it happen. So Nukeduck comes in and it's like, okay, we had a couple games where it looked all right. Let's double down on that. Let's put Marcoon in the jungle. He wants to play towards mid. Advienne on the Thresh too loves these roaming style supports, and they throw everything they have at mid lane. This is the start of an identity, and an identity that has been severely lacking for Excel. This needs to continue for the rest of summer. And then, I don't know, maybe I can get lightly excited about this team. I'm never gonna buy into the faith fully, right? Haven't made a playoffs ever, but at the end of the day, Excel looked super good against G2 yesterday.
I mean, I'm just going to say it, like, Marcoon Game 1 has showcased more to me than Dan has for a while. You know, like, we've seen the odd early aggressive play from Dan, but the degree to which Marcoon was just relentless in his aggression. And, you know, we spoke to him in PGL, right? And he said, yeah, that's just my play style. If I can dive a tower, then I'm going to dive the tower. And the fact that he then does that in his very first LEC game against none other than Jankos and Caps, who are just such story players, like, the confidence that he has is just so exciting to watch and see. And I hope that that momentum continues, because especially when we get these young players into the league, they give us a new fresh face, they challenge some of the veterans, and when you have a combination of Nukeduck plus Marcoon, it unlocks both of them, it feels, and they seem to be playing on another level. So a new fresh face for Excel, as Ender says, is exactly what I like to see. And
just on the topic of Nukeduck for a second, because this is such a storied name, do you think that with that presence, you kind of already alluded to it, with this new Marcoon presence, do you think he is going to be freed up to see a bit more style? We saw that LeBlanc, he had a lot more presence early.
Yeah, I really do think so. I think that with Nukeduck getting these additional resources, like when I think back to his previous teams, he was on a team with Alfari, who would get a lot of resources. He was also, he's been on teams where I don't think his junglers give him a huge amount of resources. And now he's with a young jungler who's saying, I'm ready to fight, I'm ready to go. And it looks like that it's working for them. So let's see how they do against the self-made leader combo, who are also quite ruthless in their own right.
Yeah, and I think that's where I'd like to kind of head next. Vitality. I mean, are we particularly concerned after that loss yesterday against Astralis, or are we more just praising Astralis for the result and expecting Vitality to bounce on back?
A little bit of both. I'm not like overly concerned about Vitality. They've shown us enough really great performances that one loss in a BO1 is not going to make me jump ship. I would say though, if you look at that game and like Leader again getting like a solo kill up against Magifelix, then Magifelix takes over the game. Well, Vitality need to do a better job of taking that advantage they get in the mid lane and transitioning that to the rest of the map. You know, not getting picked off in side lanes when you're split pushing on Gangplank, these sorts of things. So that has to be really tight, because even if Vitality do come ahead with the mid jungle 2v2, there's still plays that Excel are able to make attacking some of the weak points of Vitality around the map.
Yeah, I very much feel that today's game is going to be a lot about the mid jungle. And I think that Leader and Selfmade are going to be put to the test up against Marcoon and Nukeduck, or vice versa too as well, you know, like I'm already giving them high praise on a single game, and I shouldn't really be jumping to conclusions because, as I said, it is only one game, but I think that we're in for an explosive matchup, and if Marcoon can replicate the performance he had yesterday, we're in for a banger for sure.
Yeah, and that's the question I think everyone is here for. If you're gathering in the chat, if you're not, tell your friends, get here, because it's about to go down. It's been an awesome day at the beach so far, and the summer season is far from over as we're closing out the first round robin today. It's my pleasure to introduce a friend from long ago in Epic Lands and Leicester Studios. It's Excoundrel and Foxdrop, two charming